All right, Georgina. We're moving into Georgina to talk about specifically the freehold market, which is fantastic because it's mostly freeholds up there in Georgina. We're going to talk now about a month over month median price boost to 1.9%. That's fantastic. And I will say this, as we come off the discussion about Aurora and not enough transaction volume to wonder if it's looking good. Not bad here. We're seeing 45 units sell. It's down 11.8% in comparison to the 51 units in the prior month, but we're only down from 67 units the previous year. Like it's not great, but it's not as drastic as we've seen where in some other areas we're moving from 90 sales a month down to 28 sales a month. So yeah, Matt, I think that's a positive sign. We are seeing terminations up again, but not as high as we've seen in other areas. Remember, I think it was Newmarket originally, we were seeing like 250% increases in termination volume. So to see only 29 and only 8.8 year over year, I feel like Georgina, they're just getting dialed in a little bit better on their pricing to where buyers are perceiving value.
Yeah, I think Barrie, like the Simcoe area, definitely Barrie and Georgina, which are two markets that we cover on the northern end. They really saw a pullback last year, more so than a lot of other areas. So I think they've already gone through some of the bulk of their rollover right now. And we can see like even new listings year over year, they're down, right?
Yeah.
We're down one new listing. And where else have we seen that in the data points?
Nowhere.
That any place is less than where they were last year for new listings. So that's a great sign to kind of show that, yeah, we're up 22% month over month, but year over year, that's actually holding nice and steady, which is a great thing to see. So yeah, and then again, the termination volume year over year, only 8.8%. So those are two positives. Yes, we're down 3%. Transaction volumes are down 32.8 year over year, but we were starting to see some strengthening into the back of the year last year for Georgina and for the Barrie area. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on as it progresses through the spring market, as I think it might have a decent spring market as compared to some other areas.
Yeah, I think we're going to start to see these losses start to diminish more as we roll into April and May in terms of our year-over-year numbers, because the big boost that we saw at the start of 2024 had slowed down by that point. Really, like you were starting to feel it at the end of February, well into March, you were seeing the changes. So I think April and May we'll start to see this really change. Talk to me about where we sit with new listings.
Yeah, new listings kind of middle of the pack here. We started the year off very high for the new listings. They came out with a bit of a bang, but then they rolled over to the downside. Now we're just about above where we were. Come January, we've had a bunch of years that have had, well, maybe 3 or 4 years that have had more new listings to start the year than this year. But this is kind of middle of the pack. I think it'll likely straighten out, and not too much on the new listing speaks to me here.
Yeah, it's interesting because we usually see that rollover, like you said, at this time of year. But I think you're right. I think it's just going to be more of a straightening. I don't think we're going to necessarily see the rollover because I think we have a backlog of people that are wanting to list and just wanted to wait till the tariff talks settled down a little bit before they got out there. And I think that this is going to level off as opposed to truly dip down. I think it'll look more like what we saw here in 2015, where we're seeing kind of straight across. Who knows if it dips a little bit, but our active listings, again, this is interesting about Georgina is we're not seeing a big sweep up or drastic outpacing in active listings like we've seen in some other areas. So, they're holding pretty well, I would say, in terms of trying to keep a good balance there as opposed to switching very heavily into a buyer's market.
Yeah, and I think we'll see in the next chart when it comes to sales. Sales are significantly down when you look over a 12-year or a 14-year period, but they're not getting outstripped. The active listings are just kind of leveling off here, which is a good sign. But Georgina started the year January, February. Sales volume was in the middle of the mix.
Yes, right in the range.
March, we've seen that roll over. We've seen everywhere roll over, just as people are gauging what's going on down south, what's going on with the federal election. There's a lot of confusion. People are just settling in, but this was a market that wasn't going as bad as the rest of what we've seen. So I do think once everything settles out, this market has the potential to be one of the stronger ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. And so we are seeing like really a reset back to below 2021 pricing here as well. And I think that's why we're starting to see buyers looking there. Is the adjustment has truly happened in Georgina in terms of the pricing. So buyers are starting to see the value and come back to it now that there's been that reset. Obviously, sales volume is still low, but nonetheless, I think that reset in median price is why we're there, and we still have enough data. We have enough sales volume there to show that this is accurate to where we think median price is likely sitting for Georgina.
Yep. Yeah.
Coming into months of inventory again. Look at this. It's not a record high, not even like at a true peak for where we've been in the last couple of years.
Well, what's different about this chart from a lot of the other charts is this one actually looks like it's rolling over to the downside.
Yeah.
Whereas everything else is making new peaks, lower lows, new peaks. This one's kind of looks like it's peaked out at the end of 2024. Mm-hmm. And now we're starting to potentially maybe roll over a little bit there. We'll see how high the months of inventory ultimately goes, but maybe we're starting to see, just like we did in 2018 where it peaked out and then it was smaller peaks to the downside, maybe we're hitting that top end of the months of inventory and we're going to start to move our way down.
Yeah, well said.